Welcome back to Thrive Build AEC. I'm so glad that you decided to return, and I hope that you enjoyed today's video. So if you are new, please go ahead and subscribe, and if you are returning, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can get updates for future videos. So today we're going to talk about the 50-foot crane view, and what specifically does that mean? I kind of titled it so that you can have a visual understanding of what I'm considering to be that 50-foot crane view. In fact, it's probably a little bit higher than that, probably 100 foot or 150 foot. But in reality, what I'm talking about is a bird's eye view of the AEC industry and what AEC is. So I'm going to break down in this video specifically what architects, engineers, and contractors do, as well as what it means to work for a small, medium, mid-sized firm and a large firm. And I think that this is going to be really helpful information for you if you are in the industry and you're looking for a new start, or if you're interested in becoming a part of this amazing, thriving industry. Now, the first thing I want to share with you is that this is from my own experience. Of course, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of organizations that have different ways of looking at things and different cultures. But for generally speaking, this is what I have been able to learn from my partners and peers in the industry, and I am sharing this with you in a video. The first thing that I would like to talk about is the size of the organization and why this is important, because it will actually impact the way that you as a marketing professional will do your job. So you might have support and you might not have support. If you don't have support, like say a department of marketing or communication professionals, you're considered a marketing department of one. And actually, I have a training just for you if you are a marketing department of one and need some guidance on how to have really thoughtful conversations with your leadership so that they buy into the ideas, as well as making sure that you are in line with their plans and goals for the company. Well, the small size firms usually focus on just getting the work done and really keeping the clients, those repeat clients, happy. They're looking to grow their book of business, but it's more through business relationships. It's connected to what type of projects they've completed and also their senior leadership, maybe their principals or their senior management team members. Oftentimes they will lean into staying really focused on mastering specific markets instead of stretching themselves too thin across multiple markets. This is a good thing because then you can create and customize, tailor those messages for each market and each opportunity. If it's an architecture firm, that firm at that size, a small size, when I'm considering small, is to be, 5 to 30 people across the entire organization. And they're mostly focused on, wearing a lot of hats. You as a marketer will be basically doing marketing as well as maybe some internal administrative tasks just to, help with, the culture, company culture, and activities like, happy hours on the Fridays, or a social gathering, or maybe the holiday party. And that is totally normal. And what this is actually a benefit for you, because you have to kind of be a little bit more intentional and strategic about how you utilize the information that you're given in that role. Because you're working for a smaller firm, instead of thinking in yourself like, oh, I have to do administrative tasks in addition to being a marketing professional, is thinking to yourself, well, how can I utilize the information that I'm gaining in doing those administrative tasks that can help support what I'm doing as a marketer? Because you're a marketer department of one, you're kind of, reliant on yourself to do a lot of the activities that marketing business development have to do. But that also gives you some freedom to pretty much create whatever you want in terms of what a vision needs to look like for the marketing plan and the business plan that's aligned with the leadership's vision. So I've had experience in this role, and it honestly was both good and bad. It actually was more good than bad because I soon realized how important it was for me to have a voice. And I learned quickly that I already had one because our firm was so small and niched. And they already had a book of business, repeat clients, and partners that they relied on and built the relationship with. And there were some that were dulled and, they didn't have that connection or that exposure that they used to have. And what I did is I just went ahead and said, you know what, since we haven't talked to that firm in a really long time, why don't we reach out to them and see if we can do, a networking event or a happy hour at a local bar. And that just kind of gets all of our subject matter experts, our engineers, our architects together so that they can have really good conversation, shoot the breeze and get to know each other outside of the office, outside of emails. Even though they might say, oh, well, we're introvert, we really don't want to do those things. As senior management, it's part of their role to be sellers and doers. So giving them an incentive and saying, hey, this is an opportunity for you to do more of the work that you like by connecting with partners that do that same work. So that's a tip for you if you are a marketing department of one. You can definitely see that there's value in being a marketing department of one because you get to build a relationship with your internal team members in a different way. You'll find that there aren't any challenges with communicating with leadership or with the technical staff members because they're pretty much all working in it together. They're tight-knit, it's an intimate setting, and you get to build a rapport pretty quickly. You also find that when you're in a pinch and you need guidance and support, they're right there with you and they help you. And they learn a lot about marketing along the way, which is another opportunity for you to leverage this role and responsibility. Because the more that you educate your technical people about what you do, the easier it is for you to reach out to them to ask for something that you need or specific opportunity. Now let's move on to the mid-size firms. Now the mid-size firms are going to be basically between, the 40, 50 range up to maybe 100, 200, even further 100, I would say like 800. Because you're still larger, but there is a lot of growing pains and there might be a significant ebb and flow as the company grows. You might see that there are more leaders and those leaders are either both younger and also mid to senior level. And there tends not to be as much of a gap at the senior level at that mid-sized range firm. But there definitely is a gap between the senior level and the entry level technical staff. And so what that means for you as a marketer is that you pretty much have to work really closely with both the senior level and entry level just to make sure that you're getting the right information and you're connecting and coordinating the proper information from those professionals into the opportunities that you're working in. Now, this is true for pretty much any size firm, but for the mid-size firm, there becomes more distinction of role and responsibility. You're delegating activities that maybe you thought you would do, but they would be related to an administrative in the office or someone that can support you as a counterpart in the office. This is good and this is also bad because that means that there's a little bit more communication that you need to do on your own so that you can have those enforcing relationships internally. I love mid-sized firms because they all have a go-getter attitude. They are really fighting to get to keep their ranking, but also trying to strive for a larger size firm structure. And I think that it's really something that is honorable for mid-sized firms because they have grown to that size and they're more willing to, in my experience, more willing to work with their team members to make a culture that fits everyone, opposed to trying to fit just like the majority and not really focusing on those that are feeling left out. This is what this looks like, is that there are set roles, there are decisions that are made, and it's not really up to the whim of the professionals like a smaller firm where the technical staff have a say more than the leadership. Whereas the mid-sized firm, which I really love, is that there is a control. There's a decision that they want to continue to grow, and they set specific and intentional goals to do so and accomplish them with the site focused on their clients, but more importantly, on their employees. Then there's the larger size firms. Now, these firms are usually the top ranked E&R firms. So ENR stands for Engineering News Record. You can Google ENR.com and you'll get to the ENR website. It's a publication that used to be published in print, and I think they still do. But you can find all of their information online. It's kind of a great resource for understanding more about the AEC industry, specifically engineering. So at a larger size firm, you're gonna have a lot more red tape, and decisions are gonna take a little bit longer to make because, of course, there's a lot more pass through that needs to go through to actually get a decision to be made, if that makes sense. So at a larger firm, it is good because you get to learn from a lot of different types of people with different and various backgrounds of experience. And what you can find is that you can learn alongside someone, and you can also mentor someone at a bigger firm. They are very, very intentional about their goals, and they stay focused on those goals. Whether they're planned for a year or 5 years, they are really, really intentional about their goals, and they should be, because consistency is the most important at that size. Consistency, quality, and cohesiveness. And if you have those three qualities, then you would fit really well in a larger organization. Also, there's obviously a lot more safety and benefits that come with working with a larger firm. But I would honestly, looking back at it, I would say the smaller and the mid-sized firms have about the same. In fact, the smaller firms have more flexibility when it comes to your personal benefits, versus a larger firm is really kind of strict to what they're requiring to do based on competition in the market. Mid-sized firms, there's some flexibility, but it might be on a voting process where they still have the ability to decide on what benefits to offer their employees based on what their needs and their plans are in the future. So there's a little bit more flexibility at the small and the mid-size, whereas the bigger firms, because they're big, they just kind of stay focused on here is what's competitive, here's what will fit our organization and where we're looking to grow to in the future. So I hope that you understand the size. Now, when it comes to architect, engineering, and construction, architecture firms are really focused on detail. Design, layout design are going to be the top most important aspect of a marketing person's role. Second is word selection. When it comes to copywriting, it's focused on more storytelling about specific projects and the facade and the details and materials and things of that nature. Engineering firms are very technical, as it says in its name, engineering. So engineering firms are going to be very technical, but also process-based. So A to B, B to C, C to D. And if you really love to have process and systems and have consistency across branding, templates, just go-to resources, and just kind of plug and play, then engineering is there for you. There is less, I can consider, in my own opinion, there's less creativity when it comes to like how to lay out something, but there still is opportunities for you to create something. So it's just a little different way of creating. Maybe that might be an infographic or a flyer or a cover sheet or a cover to a proposal. Whereas for the architect, it's going to be all about the photography and really the negative space on a page. The negative space means the white space on a page. Now, when you move on to construction, because of the manner and the type of work contractors do, they're working a lot closer to the client and really helping them make final decisions on everything. Because at this point, the design has been done, engineering has been done, and the contractor just pretty much takes it, pre-cons, goes through budgeting, bidding, and gets it built, and you move in. So there's a lot more flexibility in terms of what the design is going to look like. I have seen construction firms use templates, but there's a lot more leniency in terms of if you need to use a specific template for a specific proposal, and etc. A lot less copying and pasting here because they're customizing for the specific opportunity and client, but I would say that just about across the board for architects, engineers, and contractors. So let me just go ahead and summarize it quickly. Architects, layout is number one, negative space is number two, and the quality of storytelling is going to be number three. Engineering is going to be technical. It's going to be data-driven. It's going to be organized in steps 1, 2, and 3, and really kind of just a workflow from start to finish. Much more templates than not. Construction is where you get to have more design freedom, if you will. Now, all three of them are honestly, they have their own way of doing business, and being a marketer in those firms are very different. But understanding the firms will actually help you significantly in making a decision about where you want to be in the future. I can't tell you how many times I've had a conversation with a marketer at any level, starting out or mid or senior level, and they're just saying, if I only knew, and this is the reason why I'm making this video, is to answer the questions before they become questions, before you go into a room and make a decision about your salary. You really want to know the type of work that you're doing beyond what's in the job responsibility and the scope when you apply for the job. This is the details that you need to know, what you're going to actually do and what freedom you're going to have. And depending on the size of the firm, it's going to impact what you're going to be doing on a day-to-day basis, whether that be 100% marketing or marketing and communications activities or marketing, communication activities, and administrative activities. And the more you know, the better chances that you are to find the right home for you, which will satisfy not only you and your future outcome of your career, but also the organization that's looking for someone just like you, a unicorn, someone who's specifically tailored to work for them and work with them to create amazing output for the wins of projects and jobs. Well, I hope that this video was very helpful for you and gave you a 50-foot crane view of the industry and gave you some clarity in terms of what to look out for when you're applying for your next position or when you're trying to recruit for another marketer for your organization. This is Melinda Colon, and I'll look for you to the next video. Bye.